Welcome, everyone. It used to be that in order to take something from somebody, you had to walk in by force. As technology has advanced, it's become easier and easier to do transactions online and by phone. It's also getting easier and easier to steal things online and by phone. We've gotten pretty good at defending physical environments, and even in the online space, we've gotten pretty good at defending against hackers and against network intrusions. But one place where we've not necessarily done such a great job is on the phone channel. What is at risk? Certainly our citizens' data. Government carries a lot of information, and rightly so, about its citizens, and that information has a lot of value. In addition to citizen data, there's government data. Fraudsters are interfering with public safety. You may have caught a story in the UK about a scam that targeted British pensioners and took the funds that they were able to milk and directed that to supporting ISIS in Syria. And then finally, but certainly not least, abuse of resources such as emergency services. There are monetary costs as well. Fraud losses over the last year have increased. The rate of fraud calls have increased. So what are fraudsters doing in the phone channel? Well, there's basically three things that they're trying to do. The first is reconnaissance. Fraudsters use the phone channel either to social engineer call center agents or to mine data from interactive voice response systems to identify victims. Account takeover, go in and own somebody's account, and then figure out how to turn that into money. In government space, this may be trying to obtain payment of some benefits, trying to obtain tax refunds, trying to file fraudulent claims. Finally, we see there are attacks across industry. So any place that a fraudster can obtain information about a person, they may be able to use that information in multiple attacks. They might validate a social security number and an IVR, let's say at the IRS, and they use that social security number then to get tax transcripts to determine the value of this particular victim, and then they select the high-income individuals, and they find out where those individuals bank or have brokerage accounts, and they go and they attack those accounts. All three of these different pieces of an attack could in fact happen at three different institutions or even more. Preventing the progress of these attacks has a benefit not only to the particular organization or agency that is involved, but to our nation as a whole. So how would you defend the phone channel? Pindrop does this through a technology called phone printing. We actually look at the audio of that phone call, and it turns out that the audio of a phone call carries information about where that call was originated, what kind of device was used, and allows us to uniquely fingerprint that phone device, which will allow us to recognize a repeat caller regardless of what phone number they're presenting, regardless of who is using that phone. It also lets us look at the type of device that's making the call. Those characteristics correlate in a way that allows us to see that this call is actually coming from a voice over IP application on a computer or a cell phone rather than a landline phone. So we use features like these combined with other risk factors to come up with a risk score for every call and flag the calls that are suspicious so that you can intervene and stop those. How might you put Pindrop to use? Well, clearly we've described the case where you can use it to detect phone fraud as that fraud is occurring. You can also use it for forensic investigation. We see customers take our tools and begin to understand the fraudsters that are attacking them. The other way that the agencies can put Pindrop to use is through the influence in change that happens in our nation and the way that citizens and consumers are protected. You have an opportunity to put regulations in place and to protect citizens at a much higher level than any one organization in the private sector is capable of doing. So in conclusion, the phone channel is the weakest link in protecting citizens and government data. Sophisticated criminals are using the phone channel for reconnaissance, to take over accounts, and to attack individuals and organizations across industries. You can use phone printing from Pindrop to detect this phone fraud, investigate attacks, and help protect our nation and our populace.